Hi, good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. Hope 2016 was good for everybody. I hope 2017 is just even more blessings. And I've got a verse here that Jesus has spoke to me about, that Christ has showed me for my 2017, something that I'm gonna have to hold on to, and I'm gonna have to remember. And it may sound kind of crazy to some, because it's we usually, when we speak about temptation, we're usually talking about a vice of some sort: tobacco, alcohol, sex, drugs, whatever the case may be. And those are good temptations, and a lot of times that is part of the struggle for a lot of us. But in Luke chapter 22, verse 39 is where it starts. We see, and this is Jesus is speaking to the disciples, and up to this point, up to chapter 22, we've read about Jesus' ministry. He's gathered the 12, and he has a following, and he's prayed for people and healed people and done miraculous signs, and so his ministry is coming to an end where things are fixing to turn south in an earthly view, I suppose, and he's fixing to he knows his time is coming. He's fixing to be crucified and complete the mission that God had given him, and so he knows all these things are going on, and he knows that things are fixing to be hairy. And that's how a lot of, our day-to-day life is. Sometimes things aren't always peachy. It's not always perfect, no matter where you're at in your spiritual walk. Sometimes things just stink, and that's just the fact of the matter. And so Jesus is talking to the disciples, and he's more or less letting them know, things are fixing to suck, and I'm sure he didn't speak like that, but, he's letting them know that things are fixing to go bad. He's fixing to be crucified, and they're still not really understanding, they're where they're at in life, and where they were at, they weren't where we are, and so they're still in a relationship, a physical, earthly relationship with the Messiah. So things are still kind of confusing to them, and they don't understand just everything just yet, because we're still waiting for Jesus to be crucified and fulfill the prophecies and everything. And so Jesus is telling them, and when he's speaking to them here in 39, it says, "Then, accompanied by the disciples, Jesus left the upstairs room and went as usual to the Mount of Olives. There he told them, 'Pray that you will not give in to temptation.'" And so that was his prayer for them, and their prayer also. That's what he wanted them to pray for. It says it again on down in verse 46. "Why are you sleeping?" he asked them. "Get up and pray so that you will not give in to temptation." He was fervent about that. That should be their prayer. That these disciples, they were tired. Things were going, crazy. And so they couldn't even pray. They couldn't even stay awake long enough to pray. But that was Jesus' words to them: pray that you don't give in to temptation. And that's what he's speaking to us today. It's easy to duck and run. It's easy. The sex, drugs, and all that stuff I was talking about at the beginning of this video, those are terrible temptations that affect all of us in one way or another. But it's easy, to overlook the everyday temptations, such as it's easy to put our faith on a shelf whenever it's convenient for us. And I don't necessarily mean like Peter and deny Christ. I'm not saying that, not necessarily to that extent, although sometimes some people will go through that. But there's temptations every day to put our lives, our personal agenda, in front of what God has planned. And that's a temptation for all of us every day, no matter how it comes about. It's easier to let the world slip in and do what the world wants us to do than do what the Bible tells us and what Christ tells us sometimes. And so my prayer for all of us watching this video is that in 2017 that we will pray that we will not give in to temptation, that we will put Christ first. We'll put our Bible and Christ first, and we will study it. And so I hope everybody can have a good 2017. My prayer to y'all is that you don't give in to temptation. Keep praying for each other. Jesus was, later on down here, he prayed so much that he did, he had so much prayer that he prayed, and the sweat fell from his body like blood, it says, that he prayed hard. And so that's another thing I would just like to encourage everyone to keep praying. Pray sincerely and be honest with God in your prayers, and don't give in to temptation. 2017 is going to be a great year. Put Christ first, and I'll talk to you all next week.